Hi everyone, this is Alan Rosinski of Metro Manhattan Office Space. Good afternoon. Now, as everybody knows, people around the world love watching and playing sports. The documented history of sporting events goes back over 3,000 years. What's interesting is that the purpose of these events was originally to help people train for hunting, combat, and war, which is why some of the first games in recorded history involve sparring, throwing spears, rocks, and similar activities. Formal sporting events were introduced to the world by the Greeks, with the first Olympic game being held in 1776 BC in the city of Olympia. As you can guess, this is where the Olympic Games got their name. In this first Olympic game, a cook from the nearby city of Elias won the first stadium race at that event, which was basically a 600-foot-long running contest. These races would be the only events at the Olympic Games for the next 50 years or so. New activities like chariot races, wrestling, jumping, and javelin throwing were introduced much later. Now, when I read this, it makes me think of the chariot race in the classic 1959 Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer film Ben Hur, starring Charlton Heston. I've seen this film no less than 25 times, and it is one of my favorites among 2001: A Space Odyssey and The Godfather. These days, events like the Super Bowl or NBA Finals draw the attention of millions of sports fans globally. They often turn into huge celebrations, with some people choosing to take time off from work to enjoy them with friends and family. As we know too well, major sports events can unite people in spirit or turn them against one another depending on which team they're rooting for. Here in the United States, the most popular sports are American football, baseball, basketball, ice hockey, and last but not least, soccer. Now, while soccer doesn't top the popularity list here in the United States, it's actually the most popular sport in the world by numbers. It's estimated that half of the world's population, or about 3.5 billion people, are in fact soccer fans, or as they prefer to call it, football. It's also incredibly popular in Europe. Major soccer-related events like the UEFA Champions League, the Premier League, and the Bundesliga are huge in Europe and attract millions of viewers. But soccer is growing in popularity in the United States as well. Recently, it was announced that New York City is going to welcome its first stadium dedicated to soccer. It will be located in the neighborhood of Jamaica and Queens on the campus of York College, and it will serve as a new home of Queensboro FC. The team has been playing at Yankee Stadium and reportedly tried multiple times to create its own home in Queens. But the stadium will not be used just for the football club. It will also house entertainment and community events, which will take place year-round. The seating capacity is expected to be around 7,500 people, and Queensboro FC will likely play their first game starting in 2020. Many of the residents of the borough of Queens are immigrants from over 150 different countries. On average, soccer is their #1 favorite sport, which is why this construction project is being warmly welcomed by the local community. They will finally get to have a local pro team to call their own. The project is being developed by York College of the City University of New York, together with the architecture firm Populous. You may have heard this name before. Populous also worked on London's Wembley Stadium and the Audi Field in Washington, D.C. Given the firm's stellar track record, it's safe to say that this new stadium will be best in class. The new stadium, which doesn't have an official name just yet, is expected to fuel the love of sports among the residents of Queens. The borough is already home to several major sports venues, like New York Mets Citi Field and the Billie Jean King National Tennis Center. But how exactly will this new stadium impact the local economy and the local real estate market? As with any construction project, there will be a large number of temporary jobs. The project will also attract all kinds of investors to the region, and once the new facility is up and running, many permanent jobs within the stadium will also be created. All kinds of permanent jobs will also become available in various nearby businesses, which are very likely to follow the completion of this project. Investors and developers will take this opportunity to build new retail space, entertainment venues, restaurants, hotels, and possibly even housing and commercial office projects in order to satisfy the growing local demand. The influx of people and sports fans to the area also means that upgrades to transportation infrastructure will likely become necessary as well. This is certainly good news for New York City. All these investments in the stadium and its surroundings will help local businesses recover from the pandemic. Many of them are family-owned, and they could really use the support that sports fans will bring. It's also likely that we'll see quite a few new residents and soccer fans moving closer to the stadium to be able to enjoy watching their favorite teams play with some regularity. As people move in, all kinds of new local businesses will cater to their interests by opening their doors. Restaurants, cafes, pubs, bowling alleys, shopping centers will all benefit from new foot traffic created by the construction of the stadium project. Are projects like this always good for the city? Unfortunately, nothing is perfect in this world, and pleasing everyone is impossible. So let's talk about some potential drawbacks. There are experts who believe that stadiums are not as good for neighborhoods as people may think. They emphasize the fact that construction jobs are only temporary and that the permanent jobs that remain are usually low-paying and few in numbers. Noise pollution and traffic congestion are both major concerns as well. People often end up celebrating team victories well into the night, which can become a nuisance or annoyance for other local residents, especially if it happens regularly. People who aren't into sports, or people who have young children, or work early the next morning won't be happy to have a loud new stadium built next to their buildings. The occasional chaos and increased commute times may certainly cause problems for some of those residents. Overall, though, a new sports stadium, like the one that Queensboro FC will call its home, is likely to benefit the surrounding area. It can spur interest in an undeveloped neighborhood. It can also attract investment while offering incentives for people and businesses to start moving in. Given that New York City is still going through a crisis, this type of development can create new opportunities for the retail, entertainment, and hospitality sectors which have been hit particularly badly by the pandemic. Some sporting events around the world are finally starting to return, and that's good news for fans who have missed them for more than a year. Sure, they may cause an occasional traffic jam and turn a quiet neighborhood into a hot spot for new construction, but the benefits to the public, as well as jobs and new sources of revenue for struggling neighborhoods, outweigh whatever small inconvenience that people may have to learn to tolerate. After all, New York City is known for its hustle and bustle. It's what keeps the city fresh and vibrant. I'm curious about your opinion. Are there any sports fans watching right now? Let me know your thoughts on this subject in the comments section. It's important to get the opinion of people who may be directly affected by projects like this, whether or not you are a sports fan. If you found this content interesting or helpful, I'd be happy if you subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can always find me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @MetroManhattan. Until the next time.